Alright guys, ignore my computer being out and everything. I took some notes, so just notes because I really wasn't happy with my classic physique rankings on my last rest day. I felt like it could definitely be a lot better. Like I needed to do more research. I kind of went into that one like freeballing it, just like going off the top of my head. But this one I was more like, okay, let me do some actual research. Let me get some actual their recent physique updates. So you know, mass isn't really necessarily everything when it comes to open bodybuilding. You know, shape and conditioning mean a lot as well, but it's kind of hard to say because, you know, like I'm not a judge myself, so I can't really put myself in a position to be like, well, that's how I would want to judge it, you know. So it's kind of hard because you see dudes win and they've just got freaky mass, and the dudes in second and third have got crazy conditioning, not as much mass though, but maybe the dude who won just had freaky deaky mass and the conditioning wasn't as overall there, which was the huge argument last year's Olympia about Samson Dauda. Is like, yeah, he's fucking huge, but he looks a little soft, and that's always Derek Lunsford's biggest critique is he's big, but he looks a little soft, you know, he's not in there in as great a shape. And I'm really excited to see how this year plays out because, you know, obviously Samson, he won, but then he went on to lose to Arnold to Derek Lunsford. But then, so that means you've got Samson coming back to re-win it, defend himself, and then you've got Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin, who are past Olympian, you know, winners. Let me make sure my mic's connected and everything. Okay, we're good. But, you know, it's just hard to say, but there's lots of guys in open with freaky size. Obviously, everyone in open is freakishly huge. They're all like 260 pounds, you know, but there's some of them that are like 300 pounds and 5'7". And it's just like, holy shit, like you look at them and even if they're not like great condition, you're just like, wow, it's like that freak factor. And that's the whole point of open bodybuilding, is really trying to out freak everybody else, you know. And me personally, if I was a judge, you know, I'd want to balance. Like, I'd want you to be fucking huge, but I'd also be like, okay, I want to see like some graininess. I want to see some fucking cuts and definition. I want to see a lot of vascularity. I want you to be able to hold your poses. You know, I want you to suck in your midsection in all your poses. I want you to have a tight waist. So it's kind of hard to say because every judge has got their own opinion, and I'm sure there's a specific criteria, but I know every judge has kind of got their own personal criteria that they might agree with a little bit more. So, where was I? Okay, so I kind of went and picked like the dudes I kind of saw like being in the top 10. Now, obviously, could I be wrong? And I'm not doing a top 10 ranking, I'm doing a top 5, but I'm talking over probably like 8 or 9 names. So, let me just zoom in on this a little bit. So, some notable names of freaky size that most people would recognize would be Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, Andrew Dact, Samson Dauda, and Rubiel Mascara, who I just found out was a dude today, but he's pretty fucking big. But then you have guys who come in more with notable conditioning, and they usually are pretty good about their peak week, and if they time their peak week right, they're pretty peeled. So you'd have Martin Fitzwater, Hadi Chupin, Rafael Brando, Brett Wilkin. It's going to be a really stacked competition this year, and a huge difference among physiques, you know, because size isn't always everything, as we were just previously discussing. But neither is, you know, your shape and your symmetry and the package you bring to stage. But shape and symmetry definitely mean a lot, you know. And I feel like judges are starting to get more picky. And obviously we kind of talked about how judges might be at Classic this year. It's going to be weird because before people were trying to beat C-Bum. Now people are just trying to win it. It's like they don't know how the judges are going to be judging. Who knows? You know, we're just going to have to wait and see. But, you know, I've got my ranking. But before I actually go through my rankings, I was going to, if I can get to my photos, I went and got like all these guys' check-ins. And I'm going to look at their check-ins, and I'm going to edit them into this video. Sorry about the Classic Physique video. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna figure out how I can fucking get it in the video. But you know, first off, looking at this picture of Nick Walker, this was like his most recent physique update. You know, a lot of these guys are like pretty ghost mode, you know, like they post a lot, but they're not really posting their physique update. A lot of these guys are like, you know, the last physique update I could find was like August. But this one for Nick, I believe, was a few weeks ago. And as you can see, like, you know, he doesn't have the pants off, but you can see his calves. And obviously he's got that weird vascular disease. I forget what it's called, but kind of makes his veins bunch up. Looks a little weird, but nonetheless, I mean, like, looking at him, like, his shoulders, they fucking pop out at you, you know? His triceps got a huge overhang. His biceps peak, it's there. His side chest is full, it's popping. His traps are there. And one of his biggest critiques that it seems he really fixed in this photo is his stomach is tucked in. His waist looks rather tight. His calves look good, but it's hard to say what his legs look like. But obviously we know Nick Walker's got massive legs. So looking at that photo, I honestly, like, here's the thing, you know, I like Nick Walker, but I'm a day one Martin Fitzwater fan. So it's kind of hard for me to like Nick Walker because it's like him and Martin always go toe to toe. So it's a weird position, you know. And obviously Nick's got a lot of weight on these other guys. He's only 5'7", I think, like 300 pounds. So he's fucking huge, and he makes these other dudes look tiny. But this was him at the Pittsburgh Pro. Now, you know, he brought the shape, he brought the size, he brought pretty damn good conditioning. You know, his conditioning maybe could have been a little better. And I remember his biggest issue was he was having trouble holding his poses. So Nick Walker, definitely for sure in the top 5 conversation, in my opinion. Now we got Derek Lunsford. The last physique update I could find from him was in like July or June. He hadn't posted one in a while, and this was a morning check-in. Now he looks huge. He looks freaky. His shape is all there, and obviously he don't have any conditioning right now, you know, not much conditioning at all. But also, this was probably like 4 months out from the Olympia, you know, or maybe 3, so a long ways to go. And then that's his double bicep, you know, lats are really flared out. Everything looks very symmetrical. I can't really notice anything that looks different from each other. And you know, his biggest critique is he looks a little soft on stage, and I'll admit I'm totally there with that. I do think he looks a little soft on stage, but he's also got like really symmetrical and full muscle bellies. He just doesn't ever really bring like a super like conditioned package, I feel. So, you know, but then we have got Andrew Jacked. Obviously, this dude is freaky fucking huge. Like, looking at this double bicep picture, it's just like, holy fuck, dude. His arms are probably as big as my calves. I mean, like quads. My calves are not that big. His arms are probably as big as my quads, if we're gonna be honest. So, you know, he's definitely got the freaky muscle, you know, the muscle factor. And then looking at this picture of him at the Olympia, you can tell his muscles are pretty symmetrical, and he brings pretty good shape. He definitely brings the size. He brings pretty good shape. But you could say he does look a little soft. Obviously, he's very carved out, pretty good. But looking around his physique, you can't really see many striations anywhere, you know. And his quads, you can't really see much striations. And obviously, it's just a photo, you know. Maybe he's got, like, in person, like, looking at him, you'd be like, holy fuck, his quads are crazy. But looks a little bit soft, okay? And there's his side chest, you know. Even in his hamstrings, you can't really see any striations in his hamstrings there. And his delts. And this is just a video of him, you know, he's hitting the old Kevin Levrone on stage. Who fucking doesn't love the Kevin Levrone? It's just kind of his posing routine. And Andrew Jacked is definitely, you know, probably a top 5 conversation. Is he in my top 5? No. But will I say my top 5 might be a little biased? I'll be honest, guys. I'm a little biased. It's hard for me not to be. You guys will see when I give you my top 5. But then we got Brett Wilkin, and this is just a video of him posing I was able to find from a week or 2 ago. And this is Brett's first year at the Olympia, and obviously I'm a little biased. I love Martin Fitzwater. He trains with Brett Wilkin all the time. I love Brett Wilkin. I love their videos and everything. So, you know, I'm excited to see what his package looks like on stage. But I think he looks, you know, he reminds me, he's like a classic physique guy. He's got the really tiny waist, but he's got the size of an open bodybuilder, you know. So he's really going to bring that freakiness on stage, but he's got the incredibly small waist. So it's like he's going to have a great X-frame. It's going to be really cool to see on stage, because I feel a lot of those guys, you know, they don't have the tiniest waist. They've got a tiny waist, but like they're more so just so much muscle. Brett's fucking huge, but he's got a tiny waist, and that's what's really going to set him apart from a lot of the competition, I feel. And then here's him running through his lat spread. And yeah, he looks fucking great, you know. And like his shoulders, his arms, his lats, you can really see how tiny of a waist he's got, and his legs really pop out, all three heads. I think he looks great. But then we got Samson Dauda, obviously last year's champion. He doesn't post shit about his physique. I was like, dude, where the fuck is your physique? You never really get to see it. He's always wearing a tank top. So this was like his most recent picture from September 14th. And obviously you can see, dude looks fucking massive and looks more peeled than usual. So if Samson Dauda is bringing in a package this year that is way more conditioned than usual, it's going to be crazy to see, because he'll definitely have it won. And this is from the September 14th too, and his shoulders are just unnatural. Looking at his shoulders, you're just like, holy fuck, dude. Like what the actual fuck? His shoulders are massive. They're like 3D round boulders. It's fucking weird to look at. Okay, but then we got this Neckzilla dude. I'm trying to remember his actual name. I probably have it on here. I think it's Rafael Brando. Sorry guys, I'm not great. Or maybe it's Rubiel Mascara. It's Rubiel Mascara. Sorry guys. But looking at this guy, like obviously he's got huge, like huge muscles. He's fucking huge. And then looking at his front double bi, he's fucking huge. But he looks, you know, this was probably like a month and a half ago. He looks pretty soft for going into the Olympias, especially in this most muscular. And obviously he probably had a month and a half to go. But for a month and a half, you'd think he would look maybe a little less soft. And looking at his past stage photos, he usually is a little more soft. He's got huge muscle bellies, but he never really brings in that top-notch conditioning. Okay, then we got Martin Fitzwater. And looking at this, guys, this was his most recent one. It's September 22nd, he says in there. Looking at it, like, dude, he already looks fucking really conditioned, you know. You can see his quads, the veins are swept through his quads, his tiny waist, his biceps are peaked, his lats are nice and wide. You can see striations in the outer of his quad. I wish I could zoom in for you guys in the video, but look close and you can see, if you look in the mirror behind him, you can see his glute is dug in, which is kind of cool to see. And looking at the mirror on the left side and kind of getting a different angle, he looks like you can really see his tiny waist and his big shoulders. And obviously Martin is a smaller open guy, but I don't think he's really one to neglect. I mean, he proved it last year. If he brings his conditioning and shape, I totally think Martin could win it. And I totally think no matter what, he's going to place top 5, because I just think he's got the posing, he's got the conditioning. I think he's a well-known guy. I think he's really making a name for himself right now, and I think people need to start paying more attention to Martin. I think he doesn't really get the respect he deserves. Okay, and then here was a video he posted a few weeks ago of him posing, or maybe it wasn't a few weeks ago, I can't remember. But again, like, wow, just looks fucking huge, like unnaturally huge. Huge as the other guys? No. But the muscle bellies and the symmetricalness of it, yes. That was August 29th, so that was like a month or so ago, and it was post-workout, so that's always kind of hard to say, you know. But then we got Hadi Chutman. This was like the most recent picture I could find, August 30th. Looks fucking huge, and he looks pretty dialed in. You can see the striations in his chest. You can see the striations in his shoulder. You know, you can definitely tell if this was August 30th, he's going to be bringing some great conditioning this year, hoping he doesn't mess up his peak. And then this was an actual video of him posing. I can't remember from when, but he's hitting his ab crunches. He's got the fucking striations in his obliques. You can see the striations in his quads. He hits his ab and thigh. Abs look great. Quads look great. All really, really awesome. And you can tell he's still a little bit bulked up. But then you see more striations in his chest. He looks great, you know. Definitely a guy who's also in the top 5 conversation. But anyways, guys, before I get into my top 5, I just want to make it clear, I don't want anyone coming after me in the comments, oh, you'll never look like any of these guys, and how can you judge them and do this and this and blah, blah, blah. And first off, shut the fuck up. That's the whole point of the Olympia or watching any bodybuilding competition. I'm not telling these motherfuckers their physique sucks dick and they should all eat shit and die. All I'm saying is, okay, this is how I notice these guys are looking. This is how I think it's going to play out. Obviously, these dudes tank my physique as well as everybody else in the world. You know, that's why they're in the Olympia. They're the top of the top. And I'm not comparing myself to them. Just wanted to get that out of the way so nobody's being an asshole in the comments. But my top 5, guys, okay? Number 1, gonna get a lot of hate for this. Fuck it, Martin Fitzwater. Okay? I think if he brings the right package, if he really brings his conditioning and times everything right, I think he'll win it. Number 2, I got Nick Walker. I think my heart wants to say Nick Walker is very likely to win it this year. He's got so much hype behind himself and so many fans rooting for him. I really think that he's very, very likely to win the Olympia this year. And it's going to be a serious competition this year in Open. Number 3, I got Brett Wilkin. And Brett Wilkin, I feel like he's kind of slipped on. He's an underdog. He's never competed in the Olympia before. So I think he's really going to go in there and make a name for himself. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh shit, like this dude's top-notch level. And I think he's top-notch level. You know, I could be wrong. Maybe he'll not even be in the top 10. But we'll see. That's why it's my rankings, not anybody else's. And then number 4, I had Derek Lunsford. Okay, Derek Lunsford has got so much trajectory behind him. I mean, he's really also on that comeback run. He's another dude I could see winning it because he's got this story behind him. And obviously bodybuilding is quite a bit of politics. I mean, he lost at the Olympia this year, didn't defend it, but then he went and won the Arnold against the dude who won the Olympia. He went and won the Pittsburgh Pro. He's like on the trajectory like he's going to win 3 competitions this year, right? Which I think is like a first to ever do it. Like no one's ever done it. So he's got quite a rush behind him, which is why I think he'll be very high up there. And then behind him, I've got Samson Dauda, you know. And obviously, I think these rankings could get shoveled around quite a bit. Some of my picks might not even actually be the top 5, but it's just my choice. And I think Samson proves time and time again that he doesn't really bring quite the shape and freakiness, you know. He brings the size, the shape, but he never has like that really freaky level. Like you're not seeing all striations and everything. So that's kind of my opinion, but you guys let me know what you think of my rankings down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for my chest and shoulder day.